Another game I plan to beat on my Steam Deck. I really don't want this to be a trend, especially when I have a perfectly good working PC. I say this, but the next series I plan to review will most likely be Steam Deck only. Unlike the other time, I can't really say that this game was hard to run. I just can't get the game to start again after having my first initial issue. Also, I'm going to say I was dead wrong when I said I was close to the ending. I was close, but not as close as I thought. I thought I was a few missions away from beating the game, but I was about at the median point. But I was happy I sat down in front of my desk and beat the game. It felt weird to play this game on the Steam Deck, after all the troubles I had trying to run the game with controller. But unlike other videos, I'll get straight into the review. So Sleeping Dogs isn't my type of game remotely. The best way to categorize this game would be to call it closer to GTA than anything else. You have your cars, your house, your money, your nightlife. I would say it's closer to Yakuza, but since I have yet to play a Yakuza game to completion, I cannot speak on it. The main reason I would even relate it to Yakuza would be because of karaoke, and also because you are in the Yakuza. But other than that, I can't really say this fully draws from GTA because of one small detail. You don't have an inventory. You can't store weapons, and you kind of just fight with what is on hand. If an enemy has a weapon, you can disarm them and then fight them with said weapon. As much as I dislike this, it helped with the realism because sadly we don't have an inventory in real life. Guess we have pockets and bags, but other than that we don't. Also, the weapons for the most part are underpowered, which I feel like most people wouldn't agree with me. The weapons are great because they reduce the time it takes to down an enemy, but it has a low durability. That means after a few uses, you have to discard the weapon. That only really applies for melee weapons. The guns, for the most part, stay for as long as you have ammo. Like most games of this type, you discard weapons in order to pick up other weapons. I think the only time this logic is thrown in its head is when you holster your pistol. Then you're able to pick up whatever weapon you want while still keeping your pistol. So when it comes to what is essentially my second playthrough of the game, I made sure I did everything I did in the first. Because of that, I can talk about the side quests. Side quests, for the most part, either dealt with races or helping out anyone you see in the world. Races meaning like car races. I decided not to do any other side quests except for one type. That type was the cop side missions, which were always the same no matter what. You went to a place, beat up some goons, hacked the security box, drove back home, and identified a goon for the cops to arrest. This was literally all it was, and the main reason you did this was to clear out the map with all these missions. The infuriating thing was that there were still slots where other selections would have been if they included them. I want to explain this a little bit more, but like theoretically, like say this is like the box, right? Let's say, what can you say? So you can see like all these tags, right? There's no mouse. See like open world and stuff. Like imagine like there is like a 9 by box of all these things, right? There is always a part missing essentially, depending on like if you complete it. Like the more you complete it, the more you actually saw there's like CCTV footage of that area. But if it wasn't unlocked, then it wasn't shown. That's what I meant by that. But you get nothing really for doing these missions, plus they are completely out of the way from anything. I died a bunch getting these missions done. It was annoying having to drive back to the area again and again with no real way to fast travel there. You had 3 total ways to travel this game. Wait, let me rephrase that. You have 3 ways to travel on land. You could walk/run, drive, or the only real way to fast travel, which is hail a taxi. The worst thing about the taxi is that in my experience they're rare. They drive about the same speed that other cars do. That means you either have to find them at a traffic light, or just get lucky and walk in front of them to get inside. Also, you could only fast travel to parking lots, which didn't help when I needed to get to a mission. You do have water travel, so you can drive a boat, which I forgot how to turn in it, so we will stop there. But driving was way too realistic because you had to deal with traffic and too many cars being on the road. I would be stuck adhering to the rules of the road, not because I want to, but because I have to. It is like this game wants you to use a motorcycle to drive everywhere, otherwise, you will take longer to get to the destination. But driving is something you do throughout the game, so you get used to it really fast. Driving isn't bad at all, but like I said earlier, the street congestion gets annoying really fast. You can also buy cars in this game, which ties into the street racing. Buying specific cars unlock races that you can try your hand at. But I know very little about that because I only raced when it was part of the main story. But yeah, my main vehicle is a motorcycle, which I kinda wish more was offered to buy, but I might have missed things. It's possible that by undergoing races, more vehicles would be available to purchase, but I have no idea if that was the case. Combo wasn't fun in my opinion, but felt kind of like that side quest I talked about earlier, which is repetitive. So in this game, you get combos, but the combos are kind of hidden behind 2 things. The first one is a skill tree. The other one is a dojo, which is kind of harder to learn things for. For the first one, you had truthfully 2 things to level. One would be the skill tree that was based around your cop side. The other one would be the skill tree based around your Yakuza side. Both are pretty straightforward with how to level them. If you want the cop one to level up, you have to do any cop related side missions like the surveillance one I talked about earlier. If you want the Yakuza one to level, then you do the main story quest and also any side mission that might relate to them. My guess would be winning races, since racing cars is against the law. But even when you leveled these things, it didn't really help much with combat. The cop upgrades dealt mostly with car related things and also gave you slow-mo when you were firing. The triad, or what I've been calling the Yakuza upgrades, gives you resistance to different types of damage in combat, and also increased damage. There's also some combos you can earn as you level the skill tree. When it comes to the second way to get combos, it's weird because you are locked behind statues. For the most part, I believe the statues are appear in places where you can do story missions. I believe that I only missed out on one, which means I missed out on learning the last combo. The combo, for the most part, was just press one button, and that was it. At times, you would press it 3 times, hold it, then press it one more time, and that would be it. You would do this, parry whenever the enemy turned red, then grab them if they were blocking too much. To me, combat was boring. That is sad because combat was the majority of this game. Also, something I neglected to look at was the face tree, which weirdly enough I had 3 levels in. If I was able to level once more, I would have had to wait till I have my car delivered to me, which would have made the game better for me. Like in most games, you had health upgrades, but this game changed it up. Instead of having a usual way of leveling it, you had to find these shrines out in the world. Once you found them, you prayed to them. Once you prayed to a set amount of them, you got a health upgrade. I didn't get a ton of these upgrades since I didn't really explore much on my second playthrough on account that I was playing it for this video. The last thing I want to get to on this topic is clothing. I said that this game is kind of like GTA when it comes to genre, but the clothing aspect changes that. The reason I say that is because you wear a certain set of clothing, you can get reduced damage or increase the damage of your strikes. It just makes you want to buy all the clothing out in the world, so you can be the most powerful version of yourself. Now, time to talk about the story for this kind of aged game. I can't really say this story is bad, but I wouldn't recommend this game on the story alone. The main reason, because the pacing for this game is kind of messed up. Go from completing your last case, to being reintroduced to your childhood friend Jackie, to being brought into the gang. Also, everything is predictable, so you can kind of guess where the story is going to go. I kind of wish there was more missions that kind of brought you closer to the people in the gang and other characters. Also, a lot of quests in the game, you go to this place for a mission, then have to drive 30 minutes out of town in order to get the next part of the quest. But this game has a lot of wasted time when it comes to the questing. But the characters, for good reason, were turned off when we joined because we're this new person that wanted to join the gang that happened to be good at fighting. They kind of screamed cop. But yet, we got this far when it came to the gang. But the story involves an undercover cop that has transferred back to his hometown to infiltrate the gang. Your goal is to uncover who is who, and find evidence to arrest a lot of the heavy hitters. You also have to make sure not to get caught as a cop. Now, failing mission will cause you to have to redo it at a safe checkpoint, which I guess makes you want to perfect your lockpicking skills. But the goal of the game is to find evidence to lock up the big hitters, which isn't really a hard thing to do, since you kind of need to do it in order to progress through the story. I would love to say that this game kind of follows your different identities, but it kind of doesn't. You do have missions that make you think about your mission as a cop. You are even talked to by your superiors, but nothing makes you feel like the cops are good. I guess the game does that good. The triads and the cops have their pros and cons because both have reasons for doing bad. The triads cause a lot of harm but protect those under their care. The cops protect the people, but also feel like they have a hidden agenda while doing it. The whole time playing this game, I felt like the cops were manipulating the triad into fight. A bit of spoilers. In this game, you are never really fighting with an enemy gang. You're actually fighting against another faction that is a part of your gang, which means that it's just infighting, which isn't healthy when it comes to the gang. I don't really get how other gangs don't take advantage of that, because a gang that only fights himself is a gang that won't last long. But the infighting point is brought up a lot, to the point you kind of get a feeling that this is just a scheme of someone. Spoilers over. But yeah, the game tells you a ton. Because of it, nothing really comes as a surprise. Again, this is an older game. I never really think any FPS game will ever have a strong story, but I still want to be surprised. I say FPS, but it isn't one except on certain parts. This is not an FPS game, by the way. I legit had to play this game again on my Steam Deck, just so I could beat it. Okay, time for an overall review of the story. The story isn't the best. Kind of the standard for most FPS games. It felt like a ton of content was cut. The game introduced a character just to announce the dojo content. You never saw them again. You had characters that showed up twice, and then kind of got forgotten, which I don't know if that is bad game design or on me. So you were given people's numbers, which you will use later on when you have to contact them during missions. I have no idea if you can actually talk to them outside of these missions, so I just remembered this now. But it felt like this game should have added a lot more content, so I actually felt more for these characters. I saw some of these characters go. I felt nothing for 2 reasons. The first is because I had no content that allowed me to feel close to them. Second part is because I could actually call it when they were going to die. but couldn't recommend this game when it came to story or combat, so I felt both were kind of boring. Also, there won't really be a replayability section, so I can't really say this game is replayable. This game follows a very linear path that never really strays. You don't really have any decisions to make in the game that changes how the game goes, so I have to say you can play this game once and do everything you need to get done. I said it in the beginning, but I had difficulties when it came to running this game. The main problem when I was playing the first time dealt with my controller not being recognized. I couldn't move my character well with the camera, so that took a while to get used to. I did find a fix, which was to do some Steam settings with the controller. But after the fix, I didn't have much problems until the game crashed and then never opened back up again. Once I started up on the Steam Deck, the only problems I had was that the game was crashing randomly. I think it only crashed 3 to 4 times in total. So maybe start saving like crazy. The weird thing is, the game is unverified on the Steam Deck. Even though it ran well, it didn't really have any elements that would have caused it to run badly. So I guess that is a benefit if you want to play on the Steam Deck, even though I kind of hated driving on it because of the small screen. Overall, I didn't like the game that much because how predictable the story was. I also just like that I had to play through the game again on the Steam Deck to beat it. The worst thing is that I was able to beat it in 2 days on the Steam Deck. I skipped the cutscenes I already watched and made sure to do all the content that I did previously. Even with all of that, it didn't take me long to catch up. Playing the game made me realize that I wanted a lot more from this game. I wanted the game to showcase a lot more of the characters and to flesh them out more than they do. This didn't happen sadly, which made me care less about these characters as time went on. The ending for this game also felt kind of lackluster. Like yes, it was somewhat fulfilling ending, but it was abrupt. You got your revenge, went back to your day job, and kind of called it a day. I kind of wished you had a choice on what life you ended up with, which was either the triad or back to being a cop. Sadly, this game is really linear, so you are kind of just brought along on this ride that only has one stop. I probably wouldn't recommend this game because it isn't my cup of tea. I kind of want to play another game of this vein next, to kind of compare it to, which would mean playing a game just for you peeps instead of just playing it on stream first. So I'll attempt to play some of the original GTA games that are on Steam, and review them once I am done. That means that videos won't be recorded as frequently, but it doesn't truly affect you all. But next review will probably be on one of the GTA games. I will see you all soon with that review, so I hope you all have a good week and a great day. My name is Oni the Incubus. That is my time. Later days. But yeah, I'm gonna add some like tidbits. Again, this game is not really my cup of tea, which is fine. I do like doing reviews of games that aren't really my cup of tea because I feel like it's bad if I just only play and review games that I would theoretically like. I'm always going to play games that interest me to a certain point. I've also heard many good things about Sleeping Dogs. I also thought I played Sleeping Dogs. That wasn't the case because I beat it and I did not remember anything of this game. So I don't believe I played it before doing a full thing of it. But yeah, I'm always interested to play more games. But yeah, I'll see you all soon though. I love you all. Saying kisses consensually. Ah, I love you all. Peace. Bye. Love you all. Peace. Also, when I say sending kisses consensually, if you don't want to get kissed, then the kiss is not for you. That's why I say consensually. Alright, love you all. Bye. See you later. Love you. Bye.